Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Baldwin. I'm a news reporter with Fox 19 Now. Very happy to be here. I'm also a big comic book fan. And our show, Gotham, which comes on our channel. And I'm sure all of you are ready for the premiere tomorrow, right? Absolutely. It's been a great show, and I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited and honored to be here amongst my friends and fellow comic book movie and comic book enthusiasts. And it's a great honor to be out here with a person who I think has really owned this character, if you would agree with that. And that is the great Robin Lord Taylor. And just to give you a little update, he's from Iowa, went to Solon High School, graduated from Northwestern University. He has been in several hit TV shows. Some of you probably seen him in The Walking Dead. He was in The Good Wife, Law and Order, both the regular one and Special Victims Unit. Also was in Person of Interest, which is really cool. But let's get right to it. Without further ado, folks, Robin Lord Taylor.
I didn't want to leave it back there, so I'm carrying everything with me. How's everybody doing? What's going on? Cincinnati, yeah! Yes!
Man, I gotta tell you, these folks are very happy to see you here.
Oh, likewise, you guys are awesome. Thanks for coming out.
You know,
Thank you.
When'd you get in?
Oh man, I got in. Oh man, yesterday morning around 10 o'clock, which means I woke up at 3 a.m. and we've just been hitting it hard, you know? Yeah, I'm running on fumes, but it's all good. You guys are amazing, and your energy keeps me from passing out. You know? Yeah.
I can tell you that everybody here, including myself, can't wait until tomorrow night. No setting the DVR. I'm gonna be there live.
Okay.
You know
Yes.
I mean?
All right. Yeah.
You know. What can we expect from Penguin this year?
Oh man, just more madness and insanity. I mean, you know, it's like he's still figuring it out. You know, at the end of last season, he declared himself king of Gotham. But as we know, Bruce is still, I think, 14 now. So, it's a long way to go before he becomes, the Penguin that we all grew up knowing, the amazing, Penguin from the Adam West series, or even, Danny DeVito's incredible performance in Batman Returns. They're, a lot more advanced than the Penguin in our show. So I think you can infer from that, King of Gotham is, it's going to be tough for him to maintain control of that. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Where did you get your inspiration to play the character? Because he's kind of a little gangster there. Where'd you get that inspiration? To find that this is how I'm going to play him, as opposed to the way he's been played by other actors.
Sure. Well, I guess. I have to say my inspiration is from Bruno Heller, who's our showrunner, and he's a genius, man. He created The Mentalist and a bunch of other really hit shows, and his vision for this character was just so clear and really beautiful in a way, because there's a vulnerability to Oswald, and it's because he's younger and because he's still figuring it out, like I said before. Mm-hmm. That was my goal anyway, and also I know, and Bruno's goal in general for the whole show, for all of us in the show, was to, especially the villains, they're larger than life, they're super villains from Batman, but we wanted them to be human as well, and we wanted to show them learning who they are, coming into themselves, and like I said, there's vulnerability there, and I think that's so much more interesting. If he was just, a big bad dude, from the beginning, two-dimensional, it just wouldn't be as interesting to watch or for me to play, and so yeah, my inspiration is really Bruno Heller. He's just an absolute genius. So, yeah.
How did you develop the walk? It's an interesting walk, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was lucky. What I love about the show too is that it's an actual injury that he receives. It comes from a real place, and you see that happen in the pilot. Fish Mooney, she's a tough cookie. But yeah, so it's an actual injury that he received. So when when there's that final scene when he's on the pier, and that's when you first see the walk. I talked to I talked to our director and one of the co-creators of the show, Danny Cannon, about what he wanted it to look like, and then I also was able to do research. Like our stunt team on the show are the best in the business, and they know everything about every possible injury a person could receive, and so they were really helpful. And then we have a set medic who's always there, and so I talked to him as well. Like, what would it look like if something was broken and didn't heal correctly? And also you can see by Oswald's teeth that his health insurance is not very good. I don't think Obamacare existed back whenever this show takes place. But yeah, I was able to just really do research and see find out what that would look like. And then like any weird actor, I spent about a week hobbling around my 1-bedroom apartment, being like, what is it gonna look like? What does it feel like? And but once we were on set, when we shot the pier scene, Danny was there, and he and I came together with all the research that I had done and what his vision was, and that's what you ended up seeing, and what you end up seeing every time he hobbles around Gotham City. So
your character is based in realism. So let me ask this: it's not campy, I would say. So
a little campy? I mean, come on, it's got to be a little bit. But,
will we ever hear the wah wah? Wah?
I don't know if that's ever happening, because I just give that's Burgess Meredith. That was his thing, but we'll see.
Now, speaking of time period, right? We were talking backstage about this. We don't exactly know what time period this takes place in, right?
Yeah, right. It's intentionally ambiguous because there's something about the show where we want it to be realistic, but we also want it to be fantastic. And so to do that, I think what's really brilliant about the show is the mix of technology. You have the old Crown Vics, you have the old, cop cars, that you would see in a Sidney Lumet movie from the 70s. You know what I mean? There's something about that. And then at the same time, we have flip phones, and then you'll have an old desktop, Gateway 2000 action going on, and then typewriters and stuff. And all of that is to we want it to be familiar, but not so that you could actually put your finger on it and be like, oh, that's when this happens. We want it to be a little stilted. And so and I was saying too, in terms of we shoot in New York City and we use real locations as much as we possibly can. But also you see, I don't know if you remember, in between, when we come back from commercial or when they're doing a transition from scenes, you'll get those big panoramic flyovers of Gotham City. That's all New York City. But what they do that's so brilliant is they go back and post, and they take a building from Lower Manhattan, they put it uptown, and then they change the rivers a little bit, and then they put an elevated train there, and those are all real things that you'll see around New York City, but they want to scramble it up so that it looks familiar, and yet at the same time it's not actually in our world. It's Batman's world, or Bruce Wayne's world.
What's interesting is the dynamic between Jim Gordon and the Cobblepot. Can you explain a little bit of that? I mean, it seems to be growing.
Oh, totally. Well, yeah, it's one of my favorite things. The tension between the two of them. You got the most, I think, James Gordon, especially when we start the season, is extremely altruistic and very goody-goody and really wants to do everything right, the right way all the time. Mm-hmm. Penguin is the opposite. He's incredibly cynical. He knows that to do the right thing all the time is absolutely impossible in Gotham City. And so, but they both learn as we go along that they both need each other. It's Gotham City, to get what you need done, you have to cross lines. You have to make alliances with people that you normally wouldn't work with. And so Oswald has always been about showing James Gordon that this is this is necessary. And James, as we go along, like I said, he starts off with only good intentions, mm-hmm. but he's there for a year, and now he knows that he needs Oswald, and and in a way he realizes that by saving Oswald, at first it seemed like the biggest mistake he could make, but as we go along in the second season, you'll see him keep coming back to Oswald and keep realizing that he needs his help. And so it's like a rubber band between the two of them that stretches and then snaps back, and they just can't get out of each other's orbit. And I think that's really fascinating. And I just also just to work with Ben McKenzie is an absolute dream. He's one of the most professional, down to earth people that I've ever met and ever had the privilege of working with. And so and again, yeah, he's just really, really amazing dude.
What you're describing is interesting because just from the way you're describing it, it's almost like he's realizing, okay, everybody that I can't work with does things, the exact right way. So it's almost like developing that future relationship with Batman.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And and it's really interesting too, because as Bruce is aging and as he's relating with James Gordon and Selena Kyle, you can see him learning like how this world is working, and I think that really informs who Batman becomes, because Batman is not the it's just like he's not the knight in shining armor. He's flawed, but you have to be in Gotham City. Gotham City is what makes all of these characters, and it's such a flawed place that no one gets out of it without having scars, emotional scars, physical scars.
I do want to ask you this: have they given you any clues, any hints? And you can all let us know. We won't tell anybody, I promise. But will we see Batman? Eventually.
Hey, if you guys all watch on Monday night, hopefully we'll get a third season. And then if you all watch that Monday night, then maybe we'll get a fourth and a fifth and a sixth and a seventh and an eighth.
Love that.
Yeah. And then we'll have Batman. So there you go. Yeah.
When you're playing this character, do they pretty much give you free reign to just keep developing him whatever way you want?
It's amazing. It's like an actual conversation. Like I actually just went out with Bruno Heller on Friday night, which is why getting up on 3:15 in the morning was really rough for me. But anyway, but we were talking, and like, you'll be on a show sometimes. Some shows, and this is not good or bad, but some shows, the showrunner say the words the way they're written down and do your job, and don't, I don't want to hear what you think the character is. This is what the character is, And there's something to be said for that, because there are many shows where that's the way they've run, and they're iconic shows with iconic performances, and there's nothing bad about that. But then, on the other hand, we have our show, and from like the first day, Bruno Heller came to all of the actors and was like, there's going to be a point where you, as the actor, the actors, are going to know these characters better than we, the writers, will. And he's like, we want to have open communication. If you think that, something that you're saying doesn't make sense, or, you don't like where we're taking Oswald or whatever, please let us know. We want it to be a conversation. We think the show will be stronger for that. And that's an amazing gift. I mean, holy crap. I mean, like, I still can't believe it's real. Like, I'm handed like this, this iconic character, following the footsteps. This isn't humble bragging. This is like really me freaking out. Like, following the footsteps of like Burgess Meredith and Danny DeVito. Like, yeah. I never thought this would happen. And then to have the guy who's running the show, say to me like, if you have any ideas, we want to hear them. And it's like, what an absolute dream. So yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah.
When did you so your agent came to you, how did the role come about, and did you have any trepidation about taking it and going into the comic book realm?
I just wanted health insurance, so that's where we started with that. And I was like, unemployed, and and every year there's a thing you may know, if it's called pilot season, where they're casting all of the new shows that are coming out, and it's like generally a really stressful time, because you really want to get a pilot, but and even if you get a pilot, you don't know if it's going to go to series, but you're auditioning for just a ton of things, if you're lucky. And then that's the other thing too, is that actors will be talking, and they're like, here's always that thing where it's like, oh, I just went out for this, and I went out for that the other day, and then I went out for that, and then I went out for that, and then you're sitting there being like, yeah, I didn't go out for those things. You know what I mean? So it's a really weird time, but yeah, I just, and I was, auditioning, and as an actor, you're just throwing stuff at the wall, just hoping something will stick. And this was one of those where it was like, I got the audition like any other audition, and I didn't know what it was, and they didn't tell us. It was an untitled Warner Brothers project, and we had no script. We had a fake scene, so there's no real characters in the scene. And then the night before I auditioned, my agent was like, by the way, this is a show called Gotham. You're auditioning for the Penguin. And at that point, I was just like, and I've auditioned for many years, I think, for many different projects, big projects, small projects. And I've always just been like, I've learned over time to just be like, okay, I'm just whatever. I don't care. I'm going to do me. I'm going to make my choices. I'm going to perform as I would perform anything else. And, if they like it, they like it. If they don't, there'll be something else. It took me a long time to get to that point. But yeah, this was the one where she told me that, and I was like, okay. Okay. Right? And then I went in and like I did it once, and the casting director turned off the camera, and she was like, "That was great." She was like, "I don't want to touch it." She was like, "We'll be in touch. Call me the next day, or like we're gonna fly you out to LA so that you can audition for Danny Cannon, Bruno Heller, and then all the other Warner Brothers executives." And I was like, okay, it's just insane. But then the whole entire time you're just trying to temper your expectations and be like, I don't know where this is gonna go. Like it's because you don't want to be devastated, even though you will be. But but then it actually worked out for once. It was really,
I would say
really
it did,
weird.
right?
It's
great, man. It's great.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
Did you know anything about really Batman or the character itself, or you just had to do some research and find out what's going on?
Oh, I mean, of course I grew up watching the Adam West series and Burgess Meredith's performance. I mean, it was every day. Run home from school, Scooby-Doo at 3:30. No, Scooby-Doo at 3, Batman at 3:30 every day. Eventually that turned into DuckTales, but they kind of partial to that too. But yeah, no. So I watched the original series, every episode. I was obsessed with it, and then of course the Tim Burton films, once they came out, I was there opening night, and then I had also read some of the comics. I wasn't huge into the comics when I was a kid. I was reading a lot of Calvin and Hobbes and Mad Magazine was more my jam. But my friend, who lived next door, he would give me Batman comics, so I had a little bit of awareness of that.
Right.
But yeah, and so but once I got the job, Jeff Johns, who's the head of DC, is an amazing guy, and he supports our show and also all of the other DC shows he's very involved with, and so he sent us hand selected comics that were pertained to, for my case, Oswald, and that showed some origin stuff that I would never have been aware of before. And he went way back, he sent me one from the 70s and stuff from the 80s, and then of course Penguin, Pain and Prejudice, which if you haven't read it, if you care about the Penguin, it's an amazing story. So yeah, and that's it was really extremely helpful. It's amazing to 75 years of material to draw from, to do research on. I mean, it's just awesome, and yeah. So yeah, we're very lucky in that regard.
With all the things that are on, you have comic books on television, comic book. You have your comic book movies and stuff. And I believe it was Steven Spielberg, wasn't it? Basically said there's a fatigue going on right now. Are you feeling that? Because it just seems like they keep adding more and more and more.
I don't care. I mean, there's no fatigue. Whatever. I mean, I'm sorry. That's the other thing too, is that this is nothing new. I mean, like I said, the Batman original series with Adam West. I didn't say that, but what I'm saying now, the Batman original series with Adam West was a monster hit, and and these movies have existed and have been around for many, many years. I mean, granted, if you're fatigued by it, I think a lot of that is just because there's so many more ways to. TV channels and Netflix and the ways to view television has expanded so dramatically, but I think it's just really creating just a bigger audience, and there's something about Batman that I think really speaks to people, and it really speaks to me, and there's something relatable there. So yeah, if you're fatigued, then I don't care. Go watch Downton Abbey. I don't give a shit. Sorry.
I agree with that.
Nothing wrong with Downton Abbey, by the way. That's a great show. Honestly, no, I'm not even kidding. That's a great show too. But it's a different strokes for different folks. So go watch Different Strokes. Another great show. Yeah.
I like Different Strokes.
I love Different Strokes.
Is there a particular episode that you liked the best, if you will?
Oh, absolutely. I like them all, but the
that's
one
what you have to say. That's right.
Yeah, totally. But the one that really spoke to me was episode 7 in the first season, which was Penguin's Umbrella, and that was just really when he really, it's when he really embraces this the name the Penguin, which was this name that's been used against him his entire life, a way to make him feel less than a human, less than everybody else. It was, and it really, as we know, it bothered him up until then. And that's when he took the name and he took the power and he owns it now. And you see that, when he gets rid of Carbone, he really, he's asserting himself. And then also the ultimate reveal at the end of that episode is that he's been working for Falcone the entire time. And this is, I really feel that's when our show just really hit hit its stride in a great way, and especially with me, with my character, and like where he was going. And I had no idea that I was working for Falcone the whole time until I got that script, and I literally like was like threw it across the room, and I'm like, what the hell, you know? So yeah, but yeah, it was I would say that was my favorite episode.
Is that how it goes sometimes? Like you don't even know what's going on till they go, here you go.
Generally, yeah. I mean, well, you know, I know that. Well, now that you know, especially now we're in our second season, and like you know, and we're all just very, very close. And I could, you know, like I could call Bruno anytime and be like, "Okay, tell me what's happening. I really want to know." But you know, and otherwise, you know, and we get the scripts like maybe, you know, maybe like 2.5 weeks before we start shooting the episode. But, you know, and I know, like I said, I could reach out to Bruno and ask, like, have him take me through everything that they have planned. But I don't really like to do that because I feel like it's more authentic for me to discover it as I'm going, because then my trajectory is the same as Oswald, or as close to as it can be. So I don't feel like I have anything in my head, like, you know, making me second guess any moment or any scene, because I'm like, oh, well, if I play it this way, then how am I going to get to this point, you know, eventually in episode 13 or 14 or whatever, you know, like that's just too much noise. You know what I mean? Like I want it to be real and immediate for me. So yeah, so I don't really like to read ahead or really know what's going on until it's happening, you know?
What's it like? I mean, on the show, for example, Jada Pinkett Smith plays Fish Mooney.
Yeah.
And if I saw Fish Mooney in the alley, I'm running. You know what I mean? I'm out.
Don't blame me. Yeah.
You know, what's it like working with her?
Oh, just an absolute dream. I mean, like, and again, like she's one of the most like famous, high-profile people I've ever worked that intimately with. And I, you know, of course, I was terrified when I first showed up, and like, and also, you know, like to be perfectly honest, you know, like before I got this job, like, you know, I spent way too much time being unemployed, reading stupid celebrity blogs or blogs about celebrities, and like reading all the noise and then you're reading things about Will and Jada and like, is this or is that and this and that. Then you actually get in the room with the people in there, and she was like so down to earth and kind, and like, and it was a real eye-opening experience for me, because I was like, oh my gosh, like why did I waste all of this time digesting this garbage that people just use to get page views? You know what I mean? Like you really realize that, you know, the majority of that stuff is just completely made up or just speculation, or you know what I mean? So that was amazing, and it was nothing but down to earth and kind and just a wonderful, wonderful person. I mean, it was really one of those moments when I, you know, in the finale when, you know, I threw off a building. Oops. Sorry.
Love you, Jada.
Right. But it was one of those moments where, like, you know, like, yeah, it's heartbreaking. Like it really affected me personally, because like I'm saying goodbye to Jada, you know, as far as I know. I mean, granted, we didn't see her body, so we don't really know. Fish, name is Fish. I threw her in the water. Could put it together. Like I don't know what happened to her, but you know, for the most part, you know, for all intents and purposes, you know, I was saying goodbye to Jada, this person that I'd spent this whole year with, you know, and it was a really poignant, like, you know, it wasn't easy, you know, it was actually like, it really affected me personally. So, and that's another weird thing about like this whole like TV thing, you know, like that I'd never been series regular on a show, and so like, unlike like a play, someone dies in a play, you're going to do it 20 more times or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you're going to see them again the next night and do it all over again. So when you do a movie, it's already a finite amount of time. You know, you're shooting the movie for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, but it's you know the movie's going to end. So if someone dies in a movie, you know, it's not that upsetting. The thing about a television show that we don't know how long it's going to last. Hopefully it'll last a really long time. Mm-hmm. But when someone dies, it really is like I could get emotional talking about it. It's like you're saying goodbye, and you don't, you know, and you feel like you lost all of this opportunity to be with this person, to be like, you know, to have this person in your life. Granted, they're still in your life, but it's never as immediate as it is when you're working together on set. So it's a very, very strangely, well, not strangely, but it's a very like difficult thing, you know, to go through, you know, like it's like, yeah, you're saying goodbye to your friends and your coworkers, and yeah, it's not easy. Yeah.
Well, just a few more questions, 'cause I know people want to have some questions for you, so we'll get folks lined up in a second. But
awesome.
Let me ask you this: it's a little it's in the same realm though. You have that new Batman vs Superman movie coming
Oh yeah, it's good. I got to see like 15 minutes of it. You guys are gonna be
dude,
like,
tell.
No, it's amazing, and like and I am like so. I felt so validated when I saw that because like I was one of the people. I'm sorry, and some of you probably disagree with me, but I thought Ben Affleck was absolutely unjustly raked over the coals for that casting decision. I mean, I think like no chance. Every once that came out, everyone just like freaking out all over the internet. Blah, 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 I hate this. Like, what are you doing? And it's like, come on, like you haven't even seen anything. And then of course, when I saw the screening, I was like, yes, he nailed it. He's nailing it. I'm so like excited for you guys to see it. I'm excited to see it. I mean, I only saw 15 minutes, but like he just really brings it. And also the way he plays against Henry Cavill is just, it's really exciting. I mean, to see these two universes come together, I think they really nailed it. Like I'm thrilled for it. So yeah.
You can't talk about it, I know, but let me just say this: that 15 minutes was like, damn, this is good.
Oh yeah, totally. And like, well, especially, I mean, the action sequences alone are just phenomenal, and they do, and also they really tried to, like, much in the way that Mad Max Fury Road, which I think is one of the best films of the year. If you haven't seen it, you must see it. But really what that movie did, and what Batman vs. Superman was kind of going for, is to bring back some of the practical special effects. Like, let's get off of this freaking CGI train. Like can we just like go back to the magic, right? Like you think about like Indiana Jones or the Star Wars 4, 5, 6. Like there's those inspiring magical movies, and there's just something like when it's too much CGI, it's like why don't I just go home and play Xbox? You know what I mean? Like it's basically the same thing. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's gonna be amazing.
Well, let me say this: I think you play an incredible Penguin.
Thank you, man.
And if Zack Snyder is listening, Zack, put him in the movie, man. Put him in there.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Wow.
All right. Well, one thing. I mean, listen, I could talk to you all day, but I don't want to hog it
too.
up. So if you guys want to maybe form a line or something, anybody has any questions for him?
Yeah. Yes. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you again.
Thank you. My question is about the penguin makeup.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
Oh yeah, totally, isn't it?
So, how many tries did they get to develop the look of the penguin, and how did it come about? Because it's subtle, but yet it's wow.
That's what. Yes, I'm glad you said that because, like, yeah, when they first told me that that I was gonna have a prosthetic nose, I was like, ooh, what is this gonna be? Like in my head, I'm picturing. I don't know if you guys remember the movie from the '80s, Roxanne, with Steve Martin. That's exactly where my mind went, and I was like, oh, this is not gonna be good. But then once our amazing special effects makeup designer is Dave Presto, and he's an absolute genius. And like when it was his first go, or his first drawing of it. Like they wanted something. Let's get moody. Yeah, he wanted something like realistic, like you said, and like something that was subtle but also like evocative of the penguin, and just and was really in line with where we're going with the show, where it's like not like as human as we can make these characters, like bring, so it's not cartoonish. And so, it's really, I love it too. Like I like to have a physical transformation with the character. It's a really amazing thing to go through. It's the first time I've ever had that. So like, it is like I'm putting on Oswald's skin in a way. So yeah, thank you.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have almost died several times in the first series.
Right.
What was your favorite
almost
death scene?
Oh, absolutely. Hands down, the car crushing scene. I mean, I love that.
I remember that.
And I was just like blown away with because when they told me how it was going to work, like I was like, there's a mix of CGI, and they took, one shot of the car over and composited it with the other where they actually crushed the car and stuff, and I had no idea how it was going to look or work out. But yeah, that was my favorite one. I mean, when he sees the sign and he's like calling the guy who's operating the thing, and he's like, I'm going to kill your family if you don't get me out of the car. It's like really, it was really amazing. Yeah.
All right, I have another question.
Sure.
Do you want a lemon head?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Brilliant. So now you guys get to hear me make mouth noises into the microphone. I won't do that to you. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Really good.
Okay. So how do you feel about his relationship with his mother?
Well,
it's kind of an interesting one.
he loves his mother. No,
So much.
maybe a little too much. But no, what I do love about it is that it's very clear. Well, first of all, she's his tether to humanity. You know, she like the only person he cares about, and the only person who cares about him, really. And like, and it also like just illuminates so much of like what his past must have been like. You know, growing up, you know, being teased mercilessly, bullied his entire life. Only person in his life is his mom. The only person who sees him as, you know, worthwhile and beautiful. You know what I mean? And it's like very, very sad. But of course, you know, and they're also both, you know, he's a first generation American. She's, you know, from another country, and like, you know, like that isolation, and that's why they are so strangely close. They're the only people that they had in each other's lives, you know, and I think it's like, you know, it just illuminates so much about his personality. And also, like, again, it brings a sympathy to him, which I think is really, really important. You know, like, he wouldn't be as interesting if he didn't have something really human and you know, loving inside of him, you know, under all of the, you know, the madness. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, the character of Bruce Wayne, it's like watching Tim Burton's Michael Keaton, watching Christian Bale. We see the emotional damage in Bruce Wayne's character.
Yeah.
Now, in Gotham, he seems to be remarkably well adjusted. Do you think that might be difficult as it moves on into season 4, 5, 6, hopefully all the way into 10, to try and bring that darker edge to the character?
I don't think it's really difficult at all, because I think also, like, I think in a way he has some post-traumatic stress disorder going on. Like, I think he's kind of like has to, you know, I don't think he's well adjusted in the sense that I think he had to, like, you know, put that away. But, you know, as you see in season 2, it's an obsession of his. He needs to find out who killed his parents, and it's really what drives him, and it's really what, you know, forces him to grow up in a much more quick way. Like, his innocence is robbed of him at, you know, a very young age. And he as he goes on, and as time goes on, and as it becomes more and more difficult to nail down who killed his parents, you're really going to see that darker edge come out of him. And David Mazouz is just an amazing young actor, and he just, like, it absolutely breaks my heart, like, what he's going through in this season. So yeah, I would hope that, you know, and this is just the second. You might like Penguin Parent Loud. Yeah, I mean, there's many reasons, and I would say the number one is that, like, I'm a very non-confrontational person, and, like, you know, I'm the kind of person where, like, if my order is wrong at a restaurant, I won't complain. You know, that's a thing. I mean, like, it was probably my fault. I probably, you know, like, it's okay, it's great, it's delicious, and then, like, you know, but, like, because, like, you know, yeah, I don't like to, like, you know, that makes me, like, really uncomfortable, really nervous. It's really fun to play a character who's all about complaining and getting what he wants and manipulating people and being the one who pushes people's buttons and messes up their order at a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like it's like I get to, like, work out this whole other side of me, you know, and, like, you know, that I would never ever express or never even allow myself to express in my real life. So I would say that's my favorite thing about playing the character. Thanks so much for your question.
That's got to be difficult for you because, like, you know, if you complain about something, an order or something like that, all of a sudden you're in TMZ. Somebody's recording.
Well, there
right?
is that too. I mean, that's this whole other thing. I can't even think about it now. I was like, TMZ sent chills down my spine. I'm like, where are they? You know, they're watching me. Anyway, yeah. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you for being here.
Of course,
My question
pleasure.
is, the show has some very, very intense scenes and interactions between characters, and, like, Fish Mooney and all that stuff. It's very intense. Do you ever have difficulty, like, having a normal human conversation with these people afterwards, or do you transition well?
Oh no, I mean you mean from, like, reality to what we're
Yeah.
doing on screen or on the set? Yeah, it's not difficult at all because we really love each other, and it really feels like a family, and we're so fortunate because I've been on some sets where people don't really like each other. And it's really not a good situation. But we really do, and that can become really difficult. But we really do like love and respect, and we're inspired by each other. And really, what we've done, when shooting the show and like creating this world is like, and it's all all I ever really wanted, and it was community. We've created a community amongst the actors and the crew and the writers and the producers. Like it is family, and we're creating something together. And like once things are over, like, well, what's the most difficult is like when someone leaves the show, like when I killed Carbone, like that's an amazing actor, and like and then also Fish Mooney, like Jada, saying goodbye to Jada, like that's the hard stuff. But but really, like if we have tension on the set, it's all acting, it's all magic, because we really do love each other. So yeah.
That scene was great, by the way.
Thank you so much. Which one?
When you killed him.
Oh yeah,
That was
Danny
great.
Mastrogiorgio.
Oh,
He's
gosh,
an
that
amazing
was
actor.
great.
Yeah.
All right, we have some canonical history that is maintained and some that is deviated in the series.
Okay,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
No, sure.
But I was wondering, since we've only seen you hold the umbrella, are some of the quirks with the umbrella weapons and the birds going to eventually fit their way into your side of the character?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I don't, obviously, like I said, I don't really know when or how, but, they did, our amazing props department did come up to me right when we started season 2, and they were like, we're going to be coming to you with some drawings, some, like, ideas for future umbrella stuff, as we go along. And so it's definitely coming, like I'm really, really thrilled about it too.
All right, quick question on follow up with that then.
Sure.
Would you prefer it to be the knife, the gas, or the gunbrella for the first one?
I got this question recently, and I have to say what I said then, which was the helicopter umbrella from Batman Returns. I mean, duh. Right? Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you.
You've mentioned that you're very familiar with previous live-action depictions of Oswald, Danny DeVito, Burgess Meredith, and the others, and of course, there's plenty of depictions in animation.
Yeah,
and
so of
comics
course, and
themselves.
forgive me. Like I always, those performances are equally important, if not more, than some of the other ones. So yeah, big shout out to everyone who's done the animated series. It's amazing, and also the video games too. It's just brilliant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That leads me to my question: do you ever find it difficult to individualize your depiction? Like, do you ever have the moments where you can feel the previous depictions kind of creeping in a little, and you have to push back against that to make your own depiction?
Not really, actually, because I feel like this vision is very different from other, and also the fact that we're showing him at a younger age, so we're seeing it's a different story, than what's been told in the past. But and I don't ever push back. There are a couple things that I do take though or that I'm inspired by with Burgess Meredith and Danny DeVito and the voiceover artists is like, and I would say the number one thing is like the maniacal glee, like the light, like the fun, like the fun that he has, like I don't want to say camp because that sounds a little too cheesy, but like like a little bit of lightness, because like yeah, exactly. I mean, like we could fall in that trap where it's just like hitting you over the head, darkness. It's like we get it, but like like so it's like we're always trying to like find like any moment we can to like twist it and lighten it up and like have a funny moment, like it's always been my goal, and that's something that Burgess and Danny totally nailed, so that's what I'm inspired by.
And one quick question.
Sure.
Is Sean Pertwee really as intense as he seems?
Oh, no, he's an absolute cuddle bunny. He's like, it's a dream. Like, yeah, he's one of my favorite people. And like, it's funny, like we've been doing like, press stuff and we did maybe 2 conventions together. And like he and we also have the same birthday. So we're weirdly similar, and like he and we are bad news for each other. Like we'll have like a full day like doing interviews like all day long, and then everyone will just be like, oh my god, brain dead and like tired. And like this happened in Japan. We did a press thing in Japan, and then Sean and we were exhausted. So we were like, okay, well we'll just go down to the bar. We'll have a drink, and then we'll take a shower, and then I'll see you tomorrow. We go down to the bar. it's like there was a time lapse clock, you know, where it was like literally 6 hours later. Like we were basically in the same position in the same booth, only the ties were undone. Like and we were sitting, we started the night like sitting like this, ended it like this. You know, we were like on each other's phones, being like, hey, look at this. Look at that, you know, it was an amazing thing. Yeah, he brings out the worst in me, and also the best. So yeah, big love to Sean. Hi man, how's it go?
How are you, my brother?
I'm okay. I'm all right, man. Yeah.
Remember me for yesterday, the talk we had?
Yeah.
Where is Bane in Gotham? You need me.
He's still in the orthodontist chair. But no, I hope, you know, and again, this goes back to like, you know, if we get time, like there's just the amazing villains in the Batman world. Like I want all of them to come in. Like I think it was just so fascinating. So yeah, hopefully we get time. Hopefully people watch the show and we'll be able to, you know, explore where the hell did Bane come from? You know what I mean? Like
bucks for you.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. Thank you.
Very good, man.
Thank you. What's up, man? How are you, Steve?
All right.
Good.
My question is...
Wait, 1 second. I don't know if you guys were here yesterday. If any of you were here yesterday, there was this gentleman who nailed the cosplay in a way that I've never seen before. This is Steve. Can we give Steve a round of applause for that? Because, like, just absolutely amazing, dude. Amazing.
Thank you very much.
You're
I
welcome,
really
man.
appreciate that. My question is, what's your favorite gag or outtake or blooper while filming Gotham?
Oh man, what is my favorite? Yeah, I should really watch the gag reel, which is on the DVDs now. My friend like texted me yesterday, being like, "Have you seen this? Like all the crap you did last year?" And it's like, I think that my favorite though is like I'm about to answer the door, and I think this is how it went down. Answer the door for when Maroni sends my mom flowers, and then I get all stabby, you know? And so it's like this really intense moment. I'm building up to it, and then of course I go for the door, and it's like door totally stuck, and I'm like sitting there like, and then I was like, all right, screw it, you know, like cut, you know, like can we fix the door, you know what I mean? Like yeah, that was probably it. And then also the numerous times everybody says the F word. I mean that was also a really fun moment to see. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you, Steve. Good to see you, man. Hey, man, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good.
Good.
My question is, early in the beginning of the season, there's a scene where the two young guys pick you up in the car and you're riding in the back seat.
Oh, yeah.
And you just kind of like snap and go very violently psychotic on them and kill them both. The rest of the season, it doesn't really seem like we see that side of the character very much.
Okay, yeah.
Is that a side that just they've kind of like just shied away from now, or is it something we'll see more of now?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It gets real, and you know, and yeah, it's like, but the thing is that he's not as you know, he's learned a lot, you know, as this first season goes on, and so he's not as reactionary, or you know, everything now is very calculated, but you do see, you know, the monster really comes out in a way this season that we haven't seen yet, and it's just been like so much fun to explore, you know, with the character. So yeah, you know, this next season you're gonna definitely see it. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right,
Thank
guys,
you.
I apologize. We have time for one more question because they're giving me the heave ho.
man.
I'm sorry, man. We got to roll.
Sorry, guys.
So go ahead, quick.
First, I want to say it's probably not the best thing to say in this group. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of the show.
Okay.
But I watched the show because of your portrayal of the Penguin.
Very good, yes.
Thank you. Well, and I understand, you know, I have to say, in defense of the show, every show that starts off, the first season, we're figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
We also had a very hard thing happen where, like, they were given a 16-episode order, and then right in the middle, they got extended to 22. And they were also given certain notes from network, like they wanted to try a procedural aspect where it was kind of like they almost wanted every episode to sort of stand on its own, as if like it was like Law and Order or something, and it didn't really work, you know, and they learned that. And I have to say, like, please, you know, give the show, regardless of me, like give the show a second chance, like in the second season, because they've really they've heard you, and they've heard all, we've gotten a lot of criticism for certain things about the show, and they've really made a huge effort, and I think it's really paying off to change that and make the show the best it can be. So, yeah.
And that was one of the things I've been seeing is the development of the characters, and they're becoming more pointed and more honed. And that's actually my question is, in a world where Penguin is this campy, like, caricature of a villain,
yeah,
you've turned him into an actual villain, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you so much.
What is the root of that in you? Like, where I know you worked with creators and stuff like that, but from where you're bringing this guy up from, what is that root in yourself?
I identify with Oswald personally because he, like I said before, was a bullied kid, and I, grew up in a very small town in Iowa, and I was not a sporty kid, and I was bullied for that, and I always knew what it felt like to be different, and that got really scary at times, and I got very low at times, and I felt like I was powerless, and then I embraced that, and I moved out, and I took agency over myself, and I know what it feels like to be told that you are less than and you will never be, and I know that that's Oswald's been told, and so thankfully I was able to channel it into a positive way, unlike Oswald. but I do see, but I completely understand, if you experience that, I can totally understand why someone would go to a dark place, and it really eats away at your soul, and so that's really where it all comes from for me. That's where I want to make him as realistic as possible. So yeah.
Everybody, please
thank you, man.
Put your
Thank
hands
you so
together for
much.
Robin Lortel.
You guys are amazing. Thank you, Cincinnati. You guys are awesome.